What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boy oh boy, as you guys already know, today is the big day where Splitgate 2 is officially going to go ahead and launch. Let me tell you guys something. From all the information I am seeing, all the details that are popping up, and all the leaks the developers are pushing out for the community to see, Splitgate 2 is about to be popping in ways that I can't even go ahead and describe. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, before we go and dive deep into all these details, if you guys are interested in more content like this, don't forget subscribing at that bell. I post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. Of course, we're going to be covering Call of Duty, Battlefield, Splitgate 2, and also Arc Raiders on this channel. So if you guys are interested in any of those games, subscribing at that bell. And if you guys are interested in any of my live streams, I will be streaming today over on Twitch. Actually, a little bit earlier than usual. Typically, I'm up at 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, but today we'll be live at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So, of course, if you guys are interested and you want to, catch up with me, get some good vibes, or even hop into open lobbies, you can find a link to that channel down in the description of this video. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot of stuff to discuss with you guys, but let's go ahead and start off with the actual launch date of Splitgate 2. For those who don't know yet, basically today, we're going to be having Summer's Game Fest, or whatever the hell it's going to be called. It's going to be, showcasing a lot of games, including Arc Raiders, which I'm going to go ahead and discuss as well. But Splitgate is going to be obviously having the big surprise that they're holding back, and they're going to be showcasing it later in the day. Summer's Game Fest starts, I believe, at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, you guys are going to have to take this time and convert it to your time zone. But again, all the times I'm listing are Eastern Time. But that begins at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So the plan right now is that today, at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, the servers for Splitgate 2 are going to go down. So you can play basically all throughout the morning until 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and then the servers are going to be shut off while they prep up for the official launch. And then obviously Summer Games Fest drops. They have all these discussions. I don't know when Splitgate actually hops up on stage. So, the servers could go live at 5, they could go live at 5:30, 6. Basically, the moral of the story is that whenever they go ahead and showcase the big surprise to us, that is when the servers are going to go up and the official game is going to finally be live with all the content, all the goodies, all the enjoyment. I can't even express to you guys how freaking excited I am because I've been having so much fun with the simple beta. Keep that in mind. We've been playing a beta, ladies and gentlemen. Barely any content, barely any grind, just, testing it out. Yet I can't pull myself away. There's absolutely no other games I want to play. 1047 did such a good job with this one, and I'm so pumped to actually dive deep into this and just have so much fun playing. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get into the juiciest of details. I know, the drop date and, when to expect the game to go down and come back live is pretty huge. But they keep claiming they have a massive surprise in store for us, something that's even bigger than a campaign for Splitgate 2. And they keep hinting here and there, like as you can see right here from the Splitgate page. What if you could portal to entirely different worlds? June 6th. And then 1047 responded saying, you can. But guys, it doesn't end there. They actually posted a little snippet for us to see of this portal, this massive, ginormous portal on one of the 8v8v8 maps, the Onslaught maps. I should just start calling them, obviously. Now, again, none of these are really active from at least what I've seen while playing on Onslaught, but I'm assuming that they're not supposed to be active because these portals are exclusive for the brand new mode, whatever the heck it's going to be, coming into Splitgate 2. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share my 2 reasons for, what I think these portals are going to be for and the game mode that we might be seeing. Of course, I have no clue. This is all speculation, and obviously, I want to know what you guys have to say down in the comment section. First and foremost, the one that I would prefer it not being a battle royale. Now, again, I know this might be popular to a lot of people out there. For me personally, I don't know. I used to love battle royale back in the day when it was more about survival instead of, kill hunting. But times are changing. It's a very popular genre. You never know. They might be trying to tap into this, but I could totally see them having multiple different, zones, I should call them, where you start off on one map, you have a certain amount of people who have to survive, and if you, survive through that, you go through the massive portal and go to the second map, and then, you duke it out with a few more people, you survive, you go to the third map. Or it could actually be all 3 maps completely active. They don't have any, segments where you start off one and then you go to the next and you go to the next the more you survive. Maybe it's just all 3 active and you can, go to each map at your own will. And maybe it'll be one ginormous mini map that you can open up and you could see all the 3 maps, all together. It's going to be a zone around it and it'll be shrinking and it's going to force you to go to different, other maps. And you can't just stay in one sector. You're going to have to keep, transferring and transfer again and transfer again. while you rotate through all the Onslaught maps. It could be potentially that as well. I don't know. Think of it like as a one big battle royale map, like Verdansk, for example, since everybody knows, Warzone. Imagine Verdansk cut off into multiple different mini segments that you have to portal through, very vivid worlds, very, vivid maps, but you have to portal from one to the other, something like that. I don't know. That's just my first thought that came to my mind. Again, I don't really want it to be a BR, but the second, thing that I thought of is what I would more so prefer. Just a massive all-out battle throughout multiple different, Onslaught maps. We already have 8v8v8, but imagine like 32 versus 32 or something like that. And each map is almost, a specific objective, and you have to hold these maps while you also rotate in and out of different portals. Also, a lot of people have been talking about vehicle gameplay as well, which I think will be phenomenal in Splitgate 2. I'm so curious how that would actually turn out. And imagine being able to hop into a vehicle, maybe like something like a Warthog from Halo. You're driving around, you're on the gunner, and you have to go ahead and, switch something on the gun to, shoot out a portal instead, and you just fly out into a different zone and continue gunning. How awesome would that be? And the funny thing about it is that the Splitgate devs actually, were talking about this a little bit. No confirmation, just, talking around with the community, people who brought it up in the comment section on Twitter. So, you never know. Personally, I don't think it would be introduced right away. It might be something you have to wait for. I don't know, maybe it will, but I think it might take a little bit of time if they were to ever go ahead and introduce vehicles into Splitgate 2. But I do think that I could see them going all out with like 60 plus players, one team versus the other, where they have to duke it out throughout multiple different zones and hold down different locations. But of course, as I stated, these are just my two personal opinions. I want to know what you guys think down below, because I definitely think this conversation is a fun one and a spicy one, because the possibilities are literally endless until we actually figure out what's going on when they reveal it at Summer's Game Fest. But I do want to mention one last thing, because I feel like no matter what direction they take, this mode, I think we can all agree is not going to be something that is going to revolve around the arena style of gameplay that Splitgate kind of grew from, right? Splitgate is, at its core, an arena style shooter, something like Halo, even mixed with some of the more OG classic arena games. And it's kind of bringing it back, front row and center here. And I really appreciate them for doing that. But this new mode is probably going to be very different. It's going to branch off in a different way. And I think people are concerned that the developers aren't going to be able to manage all this work. But I will say, I saw something from the community manager over on Twitter, and honestly, it gives me a lot of hope and faith, and also seeing how they've been handling this game all of this time, and how they've handled the beta and the alpha, working with the community, it gives me a lot of faith that they can indeed actually keep up with things and manage every single mode in this game. But as you can see right here, one note on tomorrow's reveal, there are inevitably going to be players who claim that introducing this to Splitgate 2 means modes like Arena and Onslaught will be abandoned. That is simply wrong. Those modes are at the heart of Splitgate 2, and we have so much planned there. Future seasons have been mapped out, and there's no shortage of new content, new maps, new tools and weapons for each faction, new modes, and new feature. We are already making balance changes for modes at launch based on player data and feedback from the open beta. The team has been set up with support for both in mind. Our team playtests both constantly, and we have a blast while doing it. If you're not interested in what we reveal because of your personal preferences, that is completely fine. Splitgate 2 will still be a complete and awesome experience for players who never spend 1 minute on it. For me personally, this is generally some of the most fun I've ever had with Splitgate 2. I can't wait for you all to experience it soon. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, as I always state, is exactly what I'm talking about. And I think this is exactly what people needed to hear. I think a lot of people are worried that this game is going to be spread too thin, but it seems the developers are very confident that they have it all under control. And from both the alpha and the beta, from what I have personally experienced, it does indeed seem like they have everything under control. They already promised tons of brand new content when it comes to both Arena and obviously Onslaught as well. I don't think that, it's going to magically disappear, right? All this stuff is planned. They have it prepped and good to go. And we're on, we're on a path now when it comes to content being dropped to us. I personally believe that they are A-okay. And this is coming from someone who is definitely worried about a BR. It's not really anything that I would, prefer. But that's not going to take away from Splitgate 2, right? As long as they still support all the other modes within the game. I'm completely content. I love 4v4 and 8v8v8. It's exactly what I want out of this game. Even if they put in a PvE or an extraction or anything else, I don't know if I'm going to play it that consistently compared to like 4v4, for example. And you could tell by all their trailers and everything that's been built up to now, 4v4 is the bread and butter of what Splitgate is all about. These other modes, yeah, they're going to be played, but I definitely think, like, stated here in this post, that 4v4 is definitely still at the heart of Splitgate 2, and it seems like everything that is built around this is, going to be around that mentality of 4v4, and they'll just simply go ahead and branch out. But as I just stated, as long as they hyper-focus 4v4 and Onslaught, I'm A-okay. It doesn't matter if I like the mode or if I hate the mode. I love Splitgate 2 still, and as long as they are willing to stuff with content, keep things going, more battle passes, tons of, updates, obviously, performance improvements, as long as 4v4 and Onslaught, obviously, are hyper-prioritized on their plate, I'm completely content, and I believe they'll go ahead and do so. And I hope whatever side mode they're putting in this game, I hope it's successful for them. You know what I'm saying? I really do. I hope nobody looks at this and they're too overly negative, because at the end of the day, if whatever this mode is can pop off, even if it's a BR, if it can actually pop off to a certain extent, it brings more players into Splitgate 2. And that all boils down to this game getting more love, staying populated, and obviously lasting for the long haul, right? But ladies and gentlemen, as I stated before, today is the big day. Keep in mind, the servers are going to be closing down at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I will have a stream up at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So, of course, if you guys want to tune on into that, like I said, I do it over on Twitch. You can find a link to that channel down in the description of this video. We're going to grind Splitgate 2 for about a couple of hours until the servers go down. Maybe we'll play some Star Wars Battlefront 2, so on and so forth. And basically, I'm just going to keep my eyes peeled on social media, see if the Splitgate team says anything. We'll keep it up to date. We're going to be looking at all the posts, news, updates, and hopefully I'll be able to keep the stream up through the Summer Game Fest. Again, I don't know when they're actually coming out on stage to discuss this stuff, so keep in mind, although, 5 p.m. Eastern Time is when all of this stuff starts, that's not guaranteed when they're going to be coming out. It could be 5:30, it could be 6:30. I have no clue how long this lasts and when they're coming on through. So if I can't get it up on stream the same day, we'll still stream it the day afterwards, right? Regardless. And of course, you best believe, even if we can't stream for the full period of time, I will 1010% have a video on this channel right when that news drops the day after. So make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell. I'm going to keep you notified on everything Splitgate 2. And of course, if we hear any crazy news about Arc Raiders as well, I'm going to be discussing that game like crazy. I'm so excited to dive into that one as well. Honestly, for shooting games, we're kind of eating recently, ladies and gentlemen, especially if Battlefield could drop, and fingers crossed it drops in a good spot. Man, the variety is crazy recently, and it's putting a big old smile on my face, I cannot lie. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you guys for checking out this video. And of course, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.